Oh, it was a historic night here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the 2026 Royal Rumble. Paul Triple H Levesque was not lying when he said it would be epic. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Royal Rumble post-show. I'm Jackie Redmond alongside Peter Rosenberg and Big E. We got guests on guests on guests coming to the set. Your 2026 Royal Rumble women's winner, Liv Morgan, will be here. Undisputed WWE champion Drew McIntyre will be here. The career killer himself, Gunther, who had a busy night, will also be here. And of course, Paul Triple H Levesque. But let me tell you something. They are chanting OTC for a reason, because Roman Reigns was in God mode tonight. He is officially a two-time Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah, listen, I said this at the beginning of the night, guys, because there has been something about Roman Reigns. Every time I've heard from him recently, when we've seen him, you could sense it when he spoke to Pat McAfee this week. He has had enough. He's ready to be at the top of the heap, and he showed it tonight, willing to take out anyone, including family.
And look, he said last year as well, 2026 is going to be a big year for him, and he meant that. It looked like for a second it could have been a huge night for Gunther, but in the end, he gets eliminated once again for the second time. Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble match.
Get your fingers in the sky.
Oh, we're back, baby.
Acknowledge him as he points to that WrestleMania 42 sign. Roman Reigns, the head of the table, the OTC, the tribal chief, whatever you want to call him, he is officially headed to WrestleMania. He is back and coming to us live from ringside. Let's check in with Kathy Kelly.
Well, I actually wanted to contribute to what Peter Rosenberg said. In an interview on the Pat McAfee show, Roman Reigns stated that he is sick of the mediocrity in WWE and that no one has stepped up to fill the void that he created in the last 2 years. Now, Roman Reigns backed up those words with a Superman punch, effectively punching his ticket to WrestleMania 42, the main event, again this year. And I think the next question that we have is, when will we hear from Roman Reigns again? That is the big question that I hope that we get answered soon. I'm going to send it back to the panel.
Kathy, thank you so much. Maybe we'll ask Paul Triple H Levesque if he's got Roman booked for an upcoming show and when we can tune in to hear the thoughts from the tribal chief. But he joins a long list of two-time winners. And Kathy mentioned it, right? Roman Reigns was very honest on the Pat McAfee show about how he felt. He said, I gave y'all a chance. I gave you a chance to take over and you failed. What do you think of his comments?
Listen, I think there was validity to the fact that maybe no one has taken the role of the tribal chief. I would say Cody Rhodes might have something to say about that. I think Cody probably feels that he has stepped into the role of being the guy extremely well. But Roman is right about the fact that he is a singular talent, and there is no other Roman Reigns in this company or in wrestling.
And look, there are a lot of metrics that we use to measure success, but ultimately it comes down to results. And the result was Roman Reigns once again won the Royal Rumble match. So there's a lot to unpack with his comments, but at the end of the night, Roman Reigns, finger in the air.
That's really all that matters.
That's it.
We are so back, baby.
We are so back.
We are back. And I'll tell you right now, I am ready to see Roman Reigns on my television
Fingers
weekly.
in the sky, let's go.
I am
Let's
ready
go.
for Roman Reigns to lead us on the path to WrestleMania 42, and these fans are too.
Listen, the people don't lie. Roman Reigns still has such a massive, massive impact on the WWE universe. I used to hate the man. I used to never put my finger to the sky.
Look at you now.
Look at me
Look at
now.
you now.
Look at me now. Even after the way he treated Jey Uso in that Royal Rumble, doing the run it back.
Jay's got to keep his head on a swivel. Look, this is the Royal Rumble match here. Come on now.
Never trust Roman Reigns.
Absolutely.
So let's break this down for a moment. Where do we think Roman Reigns goes with the decision? He now gets to choose Drew McIntyre or CM Punk.
I still think there's unfinished business with CM Punk. I think, judging by the crowd here, I think people want to see Roman Reigns and CM Punk. And look, there's still a lot that can happen. We still have Elimination Chamber. We don't know if CM Punk and Drew McIntyre will walk into WrestleMania as world champions.
True.
But as of now, if I had to pick one, I would love the Drew match as well. I think it would be intense, it would be physical, but there's still a lot of meat left on the bone between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That's what I would like to see right now.
And what would make that even more interesting is the Paul Heyman of it all. Obviously has history with both of those guys, is very busy, has his hands full now with the Vision. We saw him with Brock Lesnar tonight. I think that could also play a role in a potential Roman Reigns CM Punk match.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does that come into play?
Absolutely something we have to think about. I don't know where that lands. I thought it was interesting. Ian and I were talking. Paul decided to come out tonight with Braun Breaker, who did not last very long after being attacked by someone. And then he comes out again with Brock Lesnar. But he wasn't with every member of the Vision the whole night long. So it is interesting to think about where Paul's priorities will be as we head towards WrestleMania. Exactly.
You never know where Paul Heyman's loyalties lie or what he's up to behind the scenes. But you mentioned the early elimination of one Braun Breaker who has had an incredible couple of years. Thanks to a hooded, masked mystery man. We have seen this a few times. We saw another curb stomp. More than a few superstars have used that in the last year in WWE. Any ideas as to what that might be about?
Well, we did see Paul Heyman up here with Adam Pearce earlier on the pre-show. And there seems to be some feeling that the fix is in when it comes to Paul and the Vision and Braun Breaker. I feel like this is only going to further fuel Paul Heyman's belief that Adam Pearce is somehow, jiggering the system to make sure that the Vision and Braun Breaker don't get to achieve the goals that they have set. I don't know what this means. I don't know where this goes, but I will say I'm intrigued.
I'm glad we have a full post show here and lots of incredible guests, as you mentioned, because there are so many storylines to get to from this match. We have to spend some time. Braun Breaker, him being eliminated that quickly, it may be the biggest shock of the night when you think about the trajectory we've seen of Braun Breaker. But we got to spend some time on Obafemi.
Come on now.
Spend some time on Javon Evans.
Well, listen, we're going to talk a lot more about this men's Royal Rumble match, including maybe more theories about this hooded mystery man. Maybe Seth Rollins hired him. We don't know. Becky Lynch is still running around here. She could be behind this.
Well, the curb stomp clearly isn't an accident, right?
No, of course not. Of course not. But we're going to talk about this women's Royal Rumble match because let me tell you, the women in WWE really went out there and did their big one. We have seen Liv Morgan in a very, very, very similar situation in Royal Rumbles of the past on the ropes with two other superstars. But this time, it is Liv Morgan who stands tall as your 2026 Women's Royal Rumble winner. She is headed to WrestleMania 42. And let me tell you, Saudi Arabia is very good to Liv Morgan. She, of course, is our Royal Rumble winner. She's a two-time Women's World Champion, one of which she won here in Saudi Arabia. She's competed in all 9.
Can you believe that stat?
It's insane.
All 9.
And she's been runner-up in two of those.
Exactly right.
So it was finally her time. Everybody give it up for Liv Morgan.
Watch me.
Very low energy, that Liv Morgan.
I know.
Very low
if
energy.
Only she was willing to celebrate.
Oh,
Sit right here.
right
Talk to
here,
us.
Liv.
Congratulations,
Talk to
Liv.
us.
Take it in. The crowd here chanting, "You deserve it."
I
to Liv
know.
Morgan.
I know.
She knows she deserves it. And Liv, you are still very clearly riding the high of winning this thing. You're still riding the high of winning this.
She just wants to listen
Okay.
to more.
She wants more.
Make yourself
Get
at home.
comfortable.
Feet up.
I feel like there have been so many moments in Liv's career where this chant has rained down on her.
Time and time again.
Time and time again, they just feel you deserve it.
I do.
Do you ever get bored of hearing this?
I literally do deserve it. I've been in 9 of these matches. I've started them. I've ended them. I've been runner-up twice. Tonight was finally my night, and it's so much better than I thought.
Well, let's take a look at some of your highlights
All right.
tonight
Let's
in
take a
this
look.
Rumble match, Liv, because you really did the thing. This was quite a moment.
Yeah, how about that,
Yeah.
Liv?
Yeah, you know, so I know Raquel Rodriguez better than anyone else on this planet. And if I know Raquel, like how I think I know Raquel, she is not a selfish human being. She is #1 contender for the Women's World Champion, and now I have an opportunity to win a championship as well. I'm sure she's so happy for me because a win for one in the Judgment Day is a win for all.
Have you spoken to her about that yet to make sure that you guys are on the same
You
page?
know, I actually haven't seen her yet because I've been whisked away doing all this media.
Yep.
So I have not seen her yet, but I know she's so happy for me. That's my sister.
I imagine so.
That's very magnanimous of her.
Of her, yes.
Absolutely. Liv, you have a bit of a bad luck with injuries lately. Was there any trepidation? Obviously, you've been back for a few months now. Was there any trepidation with this run? How was that time
Yeah,
away?
right. I came back better and stronger than ever. No trepidation. Thank you so much for asking.
Absolutely.
What about Dominic Mysterio? Have you talked to him,
Yes,
and how was that?
Hey! Thank you. Dominic is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. He is the greatest Mysterio of all time.
Debatable.
Yes, he is. So you give Dominic some respect. Actually, I dedicate my victory tonight
Wow.
to Daddy Dom.
Liv, you've been in all 9 Rumbles. You've been here for a long time now. You've made your way up through developmental all the way now to here. At some point, something started to click for you. You were always talented. You always had a spark, but something changed for you, and you went to another level. Can you pinpoint what that thing is?
No.
But you felt it, right?
I think that's just with growth, experience, time, care about the craft. I think quite literally it was just my time. It was just my time, as simple as that.
Liv, you have a couple options. I know it's very early, but do you have a specific world championship that you might be eyeing heading into WrestleMania that you might want wrapped around your waist?
You know, I have the choice to choose any champion that I want, and I don't want to make a brash decision. I don't want to rush my decision. So I'm going to take my time, and I will choose when the time is right, when I think it's right.
Will you
On who is right.
Will you discuss it with all members of the Judgment
Of
Day?
course. The Judgment Day, we are very tight-knit. We talk about everything together, so of course they will be clued in on my decision.
I can't help but think, though, there's a little bit of history with Stephanie Vaquer, and also, like, I don't know, from a matchup situation, Jade doesn't seem like necessarily the most appealing direction to go in from a physical matchup standpoint.
Yeah, well, you know, I could do whatever I want. Raquel, she is #1 contender.
Okay.
We have full expectations of her winning that Women's World Championship, so I'll figure out what I want
So
to do.
it could be you and Raquel at
I
WrestleMania.
think Liv has made it pretty clear that it's going to be Liv and whoever the heck she wants.
Whatever the heck I want.
Yeah, that is the
That-
beauty of winning the Royal Rumble.
That's
It's
the
choose
beauty
your
of
own
being the decision
adventure.
maker. I can do whatever I want.
Well, Liv, congratulations on winning the Royal Rumble. Is there anything you would like to say before you go?
Want to run any more laps? Whatever you want
Yeah,
to do.
you already know what I'm going to say. I said it once, but I'm going to say it again. I am the greatest Royal Rumble winner of all time.
Oh,
You know what?
let me get the
She's nothing if not confident.
microphone here. I got this.
All right,
Oh,
give
oh,
it up.
Oh, watch yourself.
Liv Morgan is headed to WrestleMania 42. I don't think she's coming down from this high anytime
Not at all.
soon.
For the
That's not
record,
happening.
she was screaming from the second the match ended for the next couple of hours.
And she will be still screaming by the time we get to Monday Night Raw. But let's get to the most emotional, I think, match of the night.
Absolutely.
Gunther versus AJ Styles with his career on the line.
And this was just as hard-hitting, just as physical as we expected. Man, this was emotional. Gunther laid it into AJ just as we expected. I didn't expect it to end this way, to see AJ fade, but his time, according to AJ, here in WWE, is now officially up. But to see the way he was received by the fans, to see him get his flowers, to see him step up on the second rope to get his love, it was emotional, it was touching, it was heart-wrenching, it was beautiful.
It really was, man. AJ Styles calling it a career.
Oh, I'm still emotional about this. Let's check in with Byron Saxton.
Hey guys, I think we're all very much trying to wrap our heads around what happened tonight with AJ Styles and his retirement. In a perfect world, AJ would be right here. I'd be able to get some real-time feedback, but I think we could also all understand the fact that Styles wanted to spend some time alone to truly process the events of this evening. From a reactionary standpoint, backstage, you'd be hard-pressed to find a dry eye. And that just speaks to how much AJ Styles meant to the WWE locker room. Not just as a competitor, but as a highly principled human being. And it's that high level of integrity that tells us why and shows us why AJ Styles indeed upheld his end of the bargain and concluded what has been a phenomenal, phenomenal career. So for that, we all say thank you, AJ. Back to you guys on the panel.
And thank you, Byron, for that wonderful report. Here is a tweet from John Cena. Phenomenal is an understatement. Respect is earned, and few are more worthy of universal, industry-wide respect than AJ Styles. Thank you, AJ, for all you've done for wrestling, from anyone who's seen you and those lucky enough to share the canvas with you. Words from John Cena, who has also called it a career in the ring in the last few months. We lost two very good ones. He really is a career killer. AJ Styles, John Cena, Goldberg. That is the list for the ring general Gunther, who is absolutely not messing around. By the way, he also eliminated the legend killer, Randy Orton, in tonight's Men's Royal Rumble match. He is on an absolute tear. His stats are ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gunther. Congratulations. Would you like to respond to the "you tapped out" chants? No. Okay, fair enough. Just thought I'd ask. You did what you said you were going to do. You retired AJ Styles. Is there any part of you that feels any empathy for AJ? Oh boy.
This is, you would think we were in the States with this lovely chant that we're receiving. It seems that you have not ingratiated yourself to all the fans recently with some of the things you said about Cena after your match with him, of course. And now you've retired another person that people love. You can't be shocked, I guess, to hear that people feel this way.
My career is not about them. My career is not about Goldberg. It's not about John Cena. It's not about AJ Styles. It's about myself. That's all I care about.
That being said, do you walk away tonight with any added respect or different perspective on AJ and his career now that you actually were in the ring with him?
They feel very passionately about you.
I walk away with a lot of respect for myself. Because tomorrow morning I'm going to look myself in the mirror. I'm going to look at the man that retired AJ Styles and went till the very end at the Royal Rumble.
Do you have, if you had to say, do you have more respect for the performance of AJ Styles or John Cena?
Peter.
I'm enjoying this. What can I do? Look at them, all equally stupid, all equally ugly,
Well,
all singing the same.
Does
I love
the,
it.
Does
I love
the
it.
hate fuel you in any way?
You know what? I'm going to make this short.
okay.
I intended to make AJ Styles tap out. I intended to win the Royal Rumble. Those two goals have not been fully achieved. But I sure as hell made AJ Styles pass out like a little bitch.
Thank you.
I believe
Thanks.
that is the end of the interview. I really do think he thrives off the hate.
Well, listen, you have to. If you choose, if this is the way you choose to handle things, Big E, you have to be built for it. Let's take a look back at the end of the matchup. This is who Gunther is. He wants to be a guy who goes in there and puts legends to sleep. E, the elbows leading into that sleeper. It's brutal, man. He doesn't make it pretty.
He's a punisher, man. We talked earlier about hammers and nails. This man is the definition of a hammer, and he keeps coming time and time again. He was as physical. Don't give me that look. I didn't mean that on purpose. He keeps, this entire night, he put it on AJ. He beat him down. He wore him down. He grinded him down, and then choked him out, just as he intended to. There's a whole era of legends now whose careers are over because of Gunther.
And you can see here, right? I mean, SportsCenter is tweeting out some of the reactions to AJ Styles, not just loss, but the end of his career. It was a very, I mean, it was like dead silent in the arena when this match was over. Everybody stopped. Everybody was still. And I have to say, being backstage, the one thing that, choked me up a little bit was I got a text. There was a text sent out to the entire women's locker room that said, hey, everybody meet here, because we want to pay our respects to AJ Styles. And everywhere you looked, everyone was looking for AJ, looking to give him a hug, looking to say goodbye. That is the impact that he has had, top to bottom, on veterans, on rookies, on the NXT superstars that are here tonight. And I think what I saw backstage really spoke to who he is.
Well, yeah, so just to be clear, because I know AJ went back into the ring, he went up there, took in a second round of applause. I spoke to AJ. It is very much the end. This is it for AJ Styles. He is not the kind of guy who goes back on his word when he says he's having a match with his career on the line. And E and I sat there and watched him greet the entire men's locker room. It was one of the great shows of respect I've ever seen.
And he very easily could have just taken some time for himself, but Gorilla was full with backstage people, with talent, who all wanted to take a moment to say thank you. I saw so many teary eyes, so many people bawling. I think AJ means so much to this generation of performers, not only because he was truly one of the best to ever do it from bell to bell in that ring, but also the way this man carried himself. He wasn't someone who always changed on a bus or decided to be separate from the rest of us. He is someone who immediately, on day one, he carried himself with a great deal of humility. He respected everyone from top to bottom in that locker room. He is someone who reshaped our industry. He was the standard. I think I only had 2 matches with AJ, 2 tag matches, and I got to be in the ring with greatness on a level I had never truly experienced. He is someone I have so much respect for. He is someone I admire in the ring. And now this man, he has given so much of himself to this industry, to so many of us. Now he gets a chance to go home to his beautiful family, to enjoy the fruits of his labor, to enjoy this next chapter of his life. AJ Styles, you can look in the mirror and say, job well done. You did it the right way. You became a legend in TNA. You came over to here, to WWE. You did so many incredible things, became a multi-time world champion. The work he did in Japan, just someone who truly did it the right way in so many aspects.
And I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. Wrestling fans didn't ever believe they'd get to see AJ Styles in WWE. He seemed like a lifer in TNA. And when he shows up at that Rumble 10 years ago, I remember thinking, how's the WWE audience going to respond? This wasn't today where NXT and TNA do stuff together. This was a very separate world. And I remember the reaction he got when he walked through the curtain at the first Rumble. And from that moment on, it's been an incredible celebration. And I went up to him, and I'm like, you're really done? He's like, I'm done. I said, you still look incredible in the ring. And he's like, I want to get out before you see any different version of me. I said, well, you are still completely on top.
I think that shows his respect, though, for the business and how much he appreciates kind of what happens in that ring and how much he cares about the fans and wants to give them his absolute very best every single time, to the point that he's probably stopping before he physically has to stop so that he can leave on a high note.
You know how rare that is, though? I mean, you cover the NHL. You know how rare it is that an athlete doesn't wait until it's too late? because we will never have an image of AJ Styles not being able to hit that 450. He can do everything he ever did to this day, and that's a pretty cool way to go out.
It is, and it's kind of poetic that he makes his WWE debut out of Royal Rumble and then calls it a career out of Royal Rumble 10 years later.
Yeah.
So once again, congratulations to AJ Styles. Thanks for being an incredible leader, a class act, and one hell of a WWE superstar as we take a look at his career accolades. A two-time WWE champion, a one-time Intercontinental champion, 3 times he was the United States champion, and you guys both touched on his time in TNA. He was a 2-time TNA world champion as well, but above all of that, a great human, a class act, and somebody that is so loved in that locker room that I cannot even put it into words. So AJ, enjoy your retirement. We are all gonna miss you. Man, oh man, I can't believe it. I thought we were gonna get a whole
Last
year
couple of months have been a
AJ
lot.
Styles. John Cena, AJ Styles, I can't take anymore. But let's go to the match. That's a rather hard left turn there, seeing Sami Zayn go through a table.
Well.
But on the line, the undisputed WWE Championship.
Yeah, listen, it certainly wasn't the end for Sami Zayn's great career, but it was the end of his title hopes right now against Drew McIntyre.
And man, did he kick out time and time again. The commentary team talked many times about the weak kick outs from Sami Zayn, but that's all he had because Drew pummeled him. Drew pummeled him time and time again. What a great performance from Drew here tonight. And then he was in the Royal Rumble as well,
And
but he wasn't supposed to be.
Exactly. Showing up to say, hey, Cody, I am not done with you. I may have taken the championship, but I'm not done with you, Cody Rhodes.
Look, this man can hold a grudge. He was still talking about CM Punk on our pre-show as well. This man does not let things go for better or worse. It has fueled him, and it has allowed him to become a 3-time WWE champion.
Yeah, he does not forget. He is what I would classify as a petty champion. He forgets nobody. Give it up for your undisputed WWE champion, Drew McIntyre.
We're bringing out all the crowd favorites tonight, huh? What could go wrong here? Another man who relishes
The hate.
the hate.
Look, he's got a rather smug look on his face.
He doesn't
Smug
mind.
never.
Why wouldn't I? Look at me.
Oh, listen.
Not only am I sexy, I'm the champion of this entire world.
And you're sitting in the exact seat CM Punk sat in earlier. How's that feel? All right.
Hope you disinfected that thing. Probably caught something.
Drew, you've been in this industry a very long time, but in my opinion, I think you're the best you've ever been. What's the reason? What do you attest that to?
Yep, CM Punk is my favorite number 2, but this is the number 1 title in the world, which makes me the best in the world. I forgot your question, Biggie.
My point is,
Something about me being great.
you've been in this industry a very long time, but in my opinion, I think you're having your very best run now. What do you attribute that to?
Hard work, never giving up. Anyone, a lesser man, would have given up many times before. The amount of times I've been screwed over time and time again by people like the Royal Rumble winner, Roman Reigns, like people like Cody Rhodes, but I believed I was going to win in the end. I'd be champion again. I'd be on top again. You can't beat a work ethic. Actually, you can. You can be 6'5", 285 and Drew McIntyre on top of that work ethic.
Well, you are.
Ain't that sexy?
Oh, they actually agreed with that statement. It's a
They're looking at
weird
me.
turn from the fans, but you are the undisputed WWE champion. You've already defeated Cody Rhodes, so why interfere with him in the Rumble? What was that about?
Why not?
I mean,
I'm a good guy.
You're
I
a good
never
guy.
lie. I mean, listen to them. They get it. They get it. If you don't wrong me, if you don't screw me time and time again, I'll be your best friend. But if you wrong me, if you constantly cost me the championship, get on my bad side, I'll be the worst enemy you've ever had. I heard somebody say Cody Rhodes is his absolute best when he's in chase mode, when he's after the title. Drew McIntyre is his absolute best when he's holding the championship. Cody, I will make your life a living hell. I was fine with anybody winning the Rumble, just not you.
Well, so let me ask you that then, Drew. We're sitting here now, officially into WrestleMania season. If you had a choice, would it be for Roman Reigns to select you and you guys have a match at WrestleMania? Or for maybe the winner of the Chamber? Maybe that ends up being Cody Rhodes to get you at WrestleMania.
Ooh. I'm like Dr. Sam Beckett in Quantum Leap, if anyone remembers that.
I remember it well.
Putting right what once went wrong. The times I've been screwed, Cody Rhodes, I've made it right. Roman Reigns. Ooh, there's a big enemy of Drew McIntyre. His bloodline made my life a living hell for so long. So if he wants to pick Drew McIntyre, I know he's on his own now. On his own, I will destroy Roman Reigns. Go for it, Roman. Pick me. Let's main event WrestleMania, and I will drop your ass. I'm unbeatable right now, Big E. I see in your eyes. You know it. You know I'm unbeatable.
And you've seen this guy from the beginning.
That I have. Look, Sammy is a future Hall of Famer, a WrestleMania main eventer. You two have wrestled 12 times.
12 times.
And you have won all 12 times.
All 12 times.
How?
The Claymore, mostly. To be
Very
fair,
direct answer.
again, I'm an honest man. This was not the same Sami Zayn that I beat 11 straight times. No, Sami didn't just bring heart. He brought heart times 10. He kept kicking out. He wouldn't give up. I was inflicting punishment on him like I've not inflicted on many people. The referee should have stopped it many, many times, but he kept going. And Sami, like you said, has had a great career. Moment after moment, he main evented a WrestleMania on night one in the main event. But in the end, it's okay to have a ceiling. It's okay to get this far and be happy with it. Relish it. I hope you enjoyed tonight because that's as high as his career gets. And wrestling Drew McIntyre in Riyadh for the WWE Championship and losing is a pretty good career high.
Do you
Ain't
think
going to be champion as long as I'm champion.
Do you think the back was a factor for Sammy in the match, and did you take advantage of that?
What did I say last night? What have I said repeatedly since I became champion?
You're willing to do anything to hang on to that title.
Whatever it takes. I've worked so hard to get my hands on this title. Whatever it takes. For Sammy, whatever it takes means fighting, heart, grit. For me, whatever it takes, I'll take you out.
Even your arch nemesis, CM Punk, said you would chew off your own hand to hang on to a WWE Championship. You did that tonight. Congratulations on retaining the undisputed WWE Championship. I don't know how you'll celebrate, but enjoy however that is.
We got like a 17-hour charter, so it's going to probably be a very long party celebrating for Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
I like that.
Party right
Okay.
to Friday Night SmackDown.
All right, all week, a week-long party. Week-long party starting on the charter for one Drew McIntyre. Give it up one more
Right.
time.
Thank you, and still champion of your entire world, me!
I don't know if I've heard that before. Announcing yourself as just me? I don't know if I've ever heard.
First time for me too. Yeah, first time.
That
I've
was
heard
good. Thanks, Drew. Get the chair.
Listen, I will say this. Drew McIntyre is nothing if not honest. He tells you what he really, really thinks. And he's off with a kiss. All right, that is your undisputed WWE champion. All right, earlier tonight it was announced Backlash emanate from Tampa, Florida, Saturday, May 9th from Benchmark International Arena. You can see it on ESPN in the US and Netflix internationally. So the good times, the PLEs keep on rolling. I love me some Tampa, Florida. I've spent a lot of time there, as have many WWE superstars in and around the Florida area. Let's go back to the men's Royal Rumble, where we saw the OTC take an RKO, but it would not be enough.
This is a crazy moment when you think about it. First of all, getting to see Randy hit Roman with the RKO and then be eliminated by Gunther. We all know that these Royal Rumble matches often lead to rivalries down the road. What could we see from Gunther and Randy Orton?
A classic. That's what we'd see.
That one we would, an absolute classic. And then, what about that? Are you telling me Gunther's going to forget the fact that he was dumped from the Royal Rumble with a chance at WrestleMania on the line by Roman Reigns? He's not forgetting that.
Not at all. But look, Gunther was this close to having one of the most remarkable nights we've ever seen. Imagine him retiring AJ Styles and then going on to win the Royal Rumble. Look, he already had an incredible night, was this close to making it even that much more special.
And here is a tweet from ESPN. Who will Roman Reigns face at WrestleMania? That, of course, a question on the minds of many in the WWE universe as we put our fingers up and acknowledge the original Tribal Chief. Kathy Kelly posed the question earlier. Maybe Paul Triple H Levesque will have an answer for when we'll hear from Roman Reigns. Give it up for Paul Triple H Levesque.
Time to play the game!
Well, I'll tell you what, besides Liv Morgan, it's been a tough crowd.
Hi, good to see you. You have the best entrance music. I love it. So good. Welcome to the show.
Good night.
The crowd has been loud. The night has been awesome. You said it would be epic. I think it lived up to that wording that you told ESPN's Get Up.
Yeah, you know, I think this might be one of my favorite Rumbles for a lot of reasons. I think the moment that you see here tonight where Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan winning the Royal Rumble, but in another sense, almost a passing of the torch moment for a lot of talent coming in the door. Oba Femi, Javon, Trick, Royce Keys, Lola Vice, Saul Ruka, JC James, Kalani Jordan, Kiana James, Lash Legend, right? Like all of those folks coming in here, making a statement, putting the top people on notice that a new era is upon us and the future is bright. So,
of those names you just mentioned, who jumped off the page to you the most? And that's a tough question because Javon was incredible, Oba was incredible, Lash was incredible.
Sol Ruka?
Yeah, who jumped off the page the most?
Sol Ruka, I mean, man, it's hard for me to say. I would say if there's somebody that one person I had to pick, I think it would be Oba at this point. Only because it was so dominant in the moment. Javon's incredibly impressive. Trick, you know, electrifies a crowd like very few can. So, you know, Saul being in there now that long and you know, standing in there with people like Charlotte Flair and the biggest people in the business. I thought she had an incredible night. And then Lash Legend, to me, very few times do you see women come into the division and be that dominant in a moment. And she had a showing that felt almost Cainish to me in a just standing out of being a woman that when you look at her, you think like, wow, a year, 2 years from now.
5 eliminations, most.
Yeah, is she going to be tearing through the roster?
And you know what? She looked comfortable doing it. Like, it wasn't just dominant. She looked like she had been there a million times.
Absolutely, and I think that's a part of it. You know, one of the things that NXT has done to me is it has prepared people like nothing else for this spot. When you walk out here in front of 25,000 people, to make it be no different than the NXT arena, to make it no different than any other place that you've ever been in your very short career, that is incredibly difficult to do. You know, when you first walk through those doors, when you walk into a stadium to get to the Royal Rumble, it is a completely different animal. You cannot tune that out. And for, you know, WWE superstars, it's all about these crowds. So they're keenly aware of everything that is happening to them in there. For them to shut that off and have the moment that somebody like Lash Legend has, to me, next level of confidence.
I love that we're talking about this next crop that is coming up, but I also wanted to pivot to a man who I think has meant a ton to this industry, who said his final goodbye here in WWE, and AJ Styles. Can you talk about what he has meant to the industry as a whole, but also what he's meant to WWE over the last decade that he's been here?
You know, it's a funny thing that in this business, there are very few people that are universally loved, that are universally respected, right? That no matter the wars they've had with other people, no matter the battles that they've had in this business, all of that is aside, almost no one has a bad word ever to say about AJ Styles. It's a testament to the human being that he is. When you look at his career, it's easy to say, just in the decade that he was here in WWE alone, how big of a career, how impactful of a career. But he's one of those people, I feel like his influence on this business will be Shawn Michaels-esque.
Yeah.
There will be somebody 10 years from now, there will be a lot of people 10 years from now that when you talk about what got you into this business, they will say AJ Styles. When you say what influenced your career, AJ Styles. Who do you pattern yourself after? AJ Styles. He has that level of respect and sort of impact on the business. It's hard to measure.
Do you remember, you were still active at the time, AJ's in TNA, making a name for himself. Were you already aware of how good this guy was? And was everyone thinking, hopefully we find a way to get him over here one day?
Absolutely. You know, when you see talent that good, you're keenly aware of it. And you're keenly aware of it from a standpoint of, hey, let's get him here and see what we can do. It took a long time to do it, but I knew the moment he walked in the door to go to that Royal Rumble, the game had changed, no pun intended. You know, AJ Styles had now got to the place where he could make a generational impact on the world.
Has there been any discussion with AJ about any potential roles with the company post-career? Has he talked about whether it's coaching or producing?
We've had a lot of conversations on the off chance when this all came down. Obviously, we expected it later in the year. We had a lot of conversations about it. AJ is one of those people that absolutely wants to give back and be a part of this business. I don't want to speak for him, but the conversations that he had with me, he made it very clear that he was just done with the in-ring. There's a point where you just reach in your career where you say, I don't want to do this anymore. And when your heart goes, no matter how good you are, like he hasn't lost a step.
He really hasn't lost anything yet.
Anything. But when you just say, I'm just at a place where I don't want to do this anymore, it's time. Before you get hurt, before you get told you're not allowed to do this anymore. I think he was there. I'm hoping that he will contribute because, again, he's one of the most influential people in the business and one of the greatest minds in the business. And I think when you see somebody like what Shawn Michaels is doing in NXT, I think that's a path in a career for AJ Styles beyond this period that he's in. But for me right now with him is not the time to talk about it, right? This is an emotional night for him, an emotional night for him, his family, for everybody involved. It's let him breathe. It's let him take the time that he wants to take to think about what's next for him. We'll have that conversation. To me, the only conversation that needs to happen with AJ Styles right now is respect, tribute, and thank you.
Can I ask you 2 questions?
Please.
You guys love Roman Reigns, right? You guys all had your fingers up earlier. Yeah, 2026 Royal Rumble winner, 2-timer now. Have you booked Roman? When can the WWE Universe expect to hear from Roman next? Do we know yet?
Well, the one thing about the Tribal Chief is he does things on his time and his terms. Roman came back from the Rumble. I'm sure had a moment to sit down, and I'm sure now he's going to mill over his decision.
He does.
Where does he want to go at WrestleMania? Does he want to go after Drew McIntyre? Does he want to go after CM Punk?
It's a lot to think about.
It's a lot to think about, and I'm sure he's going to weigh that out. One thing about the Tribal Chief, he is one of the most strategic and well thought out individuals in this business right now. I was given a nickname at one point in time, Cerebral Assassin.
Yes.
By Jim Ross, and it would be a name that I would use for Roman Reigns right now. One of the greatest thinkers in this business. So he will take some time to reflect, and he will definitely make a decision that we will all be excited about.
I think so. We will wait in anticipation. The second part of my question, you might need to do something about security because hooded figures keep showing up and curb stomping people.
Well, I saw Paul Heyman after this in a rant backstage, and I believe that Paul Heyman believes that this is all part of a massive conspiracy to...
He's got his tinfoil hat on?
Yes, and I think he thinks that certain people know exactly who is under that mask and is going to make some bold statements about it, but...
Can't say I expected to see Braun Breaker out of this Rumble this
Listen, I saw him backstage. He was pissed, too. He was not happy.
And rightfully so. Look, I don't want to make any accusations, but this is a pretty clean curb stomp.
It looks like someone who's done a curb stomp.
Yeah, at least.
Not their first.
At least once.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll leave that right there. Let's talk about the fans here in Saudi Arabia, because all night long, Rosenberg, you kept saying it. They were so engaged from start to finish tonight. They were chanting. They were shocked at the right times. They were crying at the right times. They went nuts for Brie Bella.
Even tonight, even right now,
And
with their
of course,
colorful
yeah.
chants.
It's 2 in the morning.
It's 2 in the morning. So even with the chanting that's going on, is there a satisfaction for you to just see how this crowd here has sort of come along over the last 8 years? Because it doesn't feel the same as the crowd at the Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018.
No, this is a completely different. I said it earlier in the day that these are some of the loudest fans we get globally, right? That this reaction, all of these fans are some of the greatest fans in the world. I'm almost speechless to the point of where we were less than a decade ago here, to see the changes here culturally, with our fan base, with all of it, right? It's awesome to see, and I'm excited for them. I'm excited for everybody here, because we'll be back here a little over a year from now with the biggest show in history, with WrestleMania. And if they're anything like they were tonight, 25,000 of them strong here, going crazy all night long. WrestleMania is going to be special.
Now, the venue, by the way, of course, we did a lot on this. A month ago, nothing was here. Have you ever seen anything like this in your life?
In the beginning, right when we got out of the new year, there was a moment where I saw a picture of a dirt field here. And they said, that's where the building's going to be. And I was like, today, that's where the building is going to be? And they're saying, yeah, no worries. Well, it'll be up in time.
This sounds like Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
Like 10 days later, they sent me another picture, and there was a stadium here. It's incredible. This would take 5 years to build in the United States.
Or more.
But what an incredible job. What a beautiful stadium they ended up with here. Incredible with the city of Kaf sitting behind it. What a view, what an exceptional. Our partners here are incredible, and I would be remiss without saying that. I would like to thank the King. I would like to thank the Crown Prince, and I would like to thank His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh for bringing us here and hosting us and being such wonderful partners. They're all amazing. This is such a beautiful place. The people are so incredible. You've all been here.
Oh, we've been out all week. It's been
multiple
amazing.
times. Yeah, I mean, it's such a wonderful place.
How about the Brie Bella reaction in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia?
Right?
Did you expect
Hello,
that?
Bob.
Brie Bella.
She's never worked here before. She has never had a match here.
No, incredible. And I'm so happy that they got to see it. It's another thing is when we first came here, women performing here was a questionable thing. And women I don't know if you can hear me. Women competing here was a questionable thing. And now you see an entire Royal Rumble, 30-plus women here.
Yep.
Women debuting here for the first time. It's such an incredible cultural change. And for us to be a part of that and see it happening is awesome. And you're a big part of that as well. So thank you very much.
Can I just say, too, I know I'm biased, but I really thought the women did their big one tonight. This, to me, was the best women's Royal Rumble I think maybe I've ever seen. It was so good. Everyone performed so incredible. I was locked in from start to finish. So were the fans. How proud are you of how far the women's division just in general has come?
Again, the women that I mentioned coming here for the first time, competing in the Royal Rumble for the first time, but when you start to go through that list of Becky Lynch, right, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Asuka, Nia Jax, like you start to name these women and you start to think like, wow, this women's roster is incredibly deep. It's incredibly talented. You can put on one of the greatest Royal Rumbles, men's or women's ever, and still have an entire division of women in NXT ready to go that will wow people beyond where we are right now. So
Yeah.
I cannot say enough about the division that we have and then what Shawn Michaels is creating down in NXT and those women that are there and part of that performance center.
So we're officially on the road to WrestleMania now. Is there anything that we should be expecting in Chicago at Elimination Chamber?
Wow. Now the competition gets stiff, right? So as people get into that road to WrestleMania, 2 slots are booked. So stuff is now starting to get filled up, right? You see moments starting to get filled up. So my guess would be somebody like a Braun Breaker who gets out of the Royal Rumble now. He's looking for his opportunity to get to that world title or for the WWE title. They're all looking for that next step. So I would expect that to be crazy.
Oh, and here we go. I think we lost your mic.
I was worried about this with my beard. And it is also a moment in time where, I don't know, we're in Chicago.
Pretty good wrestling town.
Pretty good wrestling town. CM Punk doesn't seem to like to miss Chicago. There's a lot of people from Chicago, that can make an impact. So I would expect to see Chicago show up, the United Center for the first time in, I don't know, I think 20 years or something like that. 30 years.
30 years.
I'm being told by the magical headset.
Yeah.
So, I would expect the unexpected there, and I would expect it to be a hell of a night because the road to WrestleMania, things just intensify. Here we are, and I couldn't be more excited.
Also, I got to tell you, I was out in the Fan Fest here earlier, and we do a really cool Fan Fest everywhere, and obviously at Mania, we do a fantastic job at the Convention Center in Vegas. The setup that we had here, we have to find a way to do this other places.
It's incredible. As soon as I went over there, I was like, all right, how much of this stuff can we bring back to the United States, and can we bring around the globe to share with fans?
Being outdoors was so cool.
Yeah, and the fan in me I wanted to get out of the golf cart and just walk around and be a part of all the stuff, which I can't do, but, it was an incredible experience. I think the fans, when I was out there, were just going crazy, and I love to see that. So, it's spectacular what they put on here.
Well, the Royal Rumble officially in the books, which means we are on the road to WrestleMania. Anything we missed, Paul? Any final thoughts?
I don't think so. As you
wow,
said,
we nailed it.
This is our time now. You mentioned Backlash earlier, Tampa, May 9th. Backlash always coming out of WrestleMania, a spectacular event, so excited about that. But here we go. It's the road to WrestleMania now. Things intensify. It's only up. And this is going to be a spectacular year, and then we are on to Las Vegas. Going to be incredible.
All right, the pressure's on. Superstars trying to vie for their spots and find a way to WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas. Paul, thank you for the time. Give it up one more time for Paul, Triple H Levesque. All right, guys, like we said, it has been one epic Royal Rumble here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Let's take you to the event as it was called worldwide.
ضربة قاضية ممتازة من رومان رينز. جونثر الآن في خطر، لوجن في خطر وعلى برا. 오 복샷 하지만
잘 빠져나가면서 슈퍼맨 펀치로
Yosu Roman.
Gunther prende Randy Orton e lo va a eliminare. Rimangono Gunther e Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns geliyor, Spears. Hemen kalktı ayağıma Gunther.
Bu iyi bir fikir değil. Bu iyi bir fikir değil onun için.
Roman Reigns WrestleMania biletini alıyor.
It is sign pointing season. Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan, the two to punch their ticket to WrestleMania here tonight in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. All right, we've waited long enough, E. It is time for Big E's 5 Count.
Thank you, Jackie. It is time for Big E's 5 Count, where I run down my top 5 performers of the night. First, we're going to start at number 1 with Liv Morgan. Morristown, New Jersey was the hometown of famed film critic Gene Shalit, notable author Fran Lebowitz, and now you can add birthplace of Liv Morgan to the very top of that list. Wow. She is your Royal Rumble winner. Number 2, we have Lash Legend. Nearly 13 years ago, Miley Cyrus sang, and I'm not going to sing it, I'm just going to say it. I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard, and boy, did she wreck shop. Out goes the Bellas, out goes Charlotte. What a performance for Lash Legend. Number 3, my guy, Obafemi. Here's a little something I learned. Obafemi in Yoruba means The king loves me. And man, how could he not? What a performance in his first Royal Rumble. And number 4, throw up your ones for Roman Reigns.
Right.
You look, I think folk singer Woody Guthrie would have been a huge Roman fan, because in 1958 he sang, "Put your finger in the air and hold it right up there." Roman Reigns wins another Royal Rumble. And last but certainly not least, AJ Styles. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you to AJ Styles for reshaping this industry. Thank you for the way you carry yourself. Thank you for your greatness in the ring and out of the ring. Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for the way you treat people from the bottom of the totem pole here in WWE to the very top. He is someone I have a ton of respect for. He is someone I am truly blessed to have been able to share the ring with. I will miss him dearly. We will all miss him dearly. But now, you, my good man, you will be able to enjoy the fruits of your labors. Go home to your beautiful family. Enjoy the life that you have built, because you deserve it. Thank you for all you have done. We are so grateful for you. Go home. You have earned your rest, my man.
And you know what I want to say about that, Big E? That was beautifully said. Freak, I can't believe we're not going to have AJ Styles around.
I know.
Can you believe that?
I know, it's sad. It's sad.
He is such a cool dude, man.
He's the best.
He just, to me, what's amazing about him is he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And as Triple H mentioned a little while ago, his 10 years here was enough for him to be a Hall of Famer. But he's also, wait for it, folks, the greatest TNA star of all time. And there are some greats that went through TNA. He is the #1 guy there, and he's an all-time icon here. And he ends up retiring, and he's still perfect in ring. It's rarefied air, guys.
It absolutely is. And there's nothing else I can add. 10 out of 10, no notes from the two of you on AJ Styles. Congratulations to you again on a phenomenal career. What a night here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Thank you all for watching. Next stop, Monday Night Raw, live from Philly. For Big E and Peter Rosenberg, I'm Jackie Redmond. Thank you so much for watching the road to WrestleMania. Oh, it's on.
Thank you, guys.
10 to 1, back then should have bit your tongue, cause there's no turning back. This path once it's begun, you're already on that list. Say you don't want what you can't resist, waving that sword when the pen won't miss. Watch it all falling apart like